What's up, folks? This is DadBodGamer / DadBodGaming coming at you again with I call this build the Grinch hat build. No, it's a strength intelligence build, and I love playing with this one. I think I said in another video, I don't much care for trying to min-max and use a specific weapon on a build. What I like to do is just try to figure out all the different weapons and ashes of war or spells that I would want to use for invasions, and I'll just make my stats off that and try to meet all the requirements for everything I'd want to use, and then try to get pretty good damage out of that. And then obviously I go for 60 vigor typically, but if I'm doing a melee build, I'll go for 10 mines. If I'm using, I can't remember if I had 10 mind on this one or not. I might actually had a little more on this one just because I knew I was going to be using Ashes of War quite a bit. I think my stats are probably on the right there a couple of times when I'm swapping stuff out here. But what I like in invasions and what I find to be most fun and most useful or practical is having a bunch of different tools that you can use. I do item swap a little bit here and there. I'm not someone that's as good at it as like a Jeenine or Stolovsky or some of those guys that just can do it in a blink of an eye. I do it here and there, typically just in different situations. In my opinion, in invasions, anything goes. So when you're in an invasion, I said this in a different video I just put up. By the way, I'm new to this YouTube stuff. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm just making good videos that I think are fun. I got some music that I enjoy, and there's nothing better than having some stressful 3v1 situations where you're about to die at all times and having some calm music in the background. So I thought that'd be fun. But anyways, I don't know what I'm doing on all these videos, but what I was saying was item swapping. I do it a little bit, but I like to have things that I can use in different situations. This build is really fun because you've got, I'd say I use probably about 5 or 6 different things mainly. I love using this claymore. I think claymores are a lot of fun. Great swords aren't the best, but they are actually pretty good now with the recent patches where they stagger automatically if you're two-handing them, no matter how much poise somebody has. Claymore's the best because it's got some thrusting attacks that have, not only can you mix up timing better with it, so you got your crouch attack that comes out pretty quickly and it does thrust, so it's got a good reach on it. That's part of what makes it good, is the distance it can reach, so you can roll catch pretty consistently with a crouching R1. You got your overhead slash, it's good for anti-air, and obviously just a good turn and burn on a 3-man gang squad that might be chasing you. You got your R2 that can you can charge it to stagger the timing and do all that, and then you got obviously this great Ash of War that pretty much everybody has put on there lately, the Piercing Fang. So that's good for roll catching, timing mix up. The animation looks so similar to some of the other attacks that you can do with the Claymore that it's good. The other great swords, there's a couple that are okay out there, but Claymore is without a doubt the best one, just because of the reach it has and the moveset mix-up that you can do on it. I think a lot of the problem with some of the other weapon classes, like curved great swords, most other great swords in general, is just the attacks all look so similar that you can't really mix things up enough to make it unpredictable. To where you've got to really be paying attention and be on your game to properly dodge on some of those things. Like I was saying, I got Claymore on there. I use Radon's thing a lot, which obviously most invaders hate. to see because it'll get you killed in an invasion, but it's fantastic to use some of the things that get you killed in an invasion as an invader. Because, one, you're just turning around the thing that people have used against you so many times and using it on them. Oh, this is a great one where I think I killed 2 different players here, or had some help killing 2 different players from a PvE, and then the guy goes into a fog wall. You gotta love those. Almost as good as the disconnects. Disconnects are classic. Oh, I love this one. By the way, I try using this weapon here and there, and I tried to do this jump down attack on the Ash of War, and the Ash of War just stopped working halfway through. It doesn't, if you do it off a ledge like that, it doesn't work. Thought that was going to be pretty clever to do. Definitely wasn't. Anyway, so I use Radons a lot. It's great for the people that don't want to come out of a room or out of that tiny area they're trying to get you into there, because it has such a big AoE, and then you don't have to use the second part of the Ash of War. I mean, a lot of people that use it just instantly press to do the second part, but you don't have to do that. It's actually better a lot of times if you don't, because that second part will get you into trouble. You know, if people get hit by the first part of the Ash of War, yeah, maybe you can use it, but if they don't get hit by it, you probably shouldn't press that button to do the second part. So I use that. I use the Ruins Greatsword a lot. If you're in a, forcing people into a narrow area, or a good choke point is a great, and then using the Ruins Greatsword, Ash of War, it's a great way to get some free damage off, and it's pretty hard to punish if you're in that kind of narrow space. It's not typically great to use in wide open areas unless you're spaced well, and we'll talk about spacing in another video, maybe even this video later on. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about, but it might be spacing later. But anyways, Ruins Greatsword, good in small areas where people panic roll and don't have a lot of room to get out of the way, because sometimes you can even dodge that kind of Ash of War, and if you don't dodge sideways perfectly, if you dodge backwards, you can get hit by it sometimes, even if you try to time it right, or did time it right. And if you dodge sideways, if you're in a narrow area, if you mistime it at all, you can still get hit too. So great Ash of War for narrow area, somewhat like this. This isn't quite as narrow as ideally you'd want, but pretty good spot for it. Right here I've got some spacing so I can openly use it. Speaking of this Ash of War, best to never lock on for that Ash of War. So if you don't know how to play not locked on, if you're doing invasions, you've got to learn that skill. We'll talk about that maybe in another video. I need to write some of these things down, but never. I don't think with that Ash of War you should ever have it locked on. You should always free aim it, depending on what the opponent's doing. If they're in the middle of an action, then you should aim it right at them, because theoretically, depending on the action, they'll either get hit by the Ash of War because they can't move in time, or if they're not doing an action, then you might want to try to do it in the direction you think they're going to keep going or roll. Speaking of which, this is a great, we'll come back to the weapons here in a second, but this is a really fun invasion. You get here and you're getting triple teamed, getting spanked. There's nothing you can do. Hey, let me use this PvE for a second. I know what's down below. There's some of these basilisk frogs, and these enemies are so focused on me that they don't pay attention to these basilisk frogs, and you're gonna die real quick. And I got one right there, which made the tides of this battle completely in my favor, because I can handle a 2v1 pretty well, especially when there's any kind of space between the two people, if they're not all right beside each other. But when I was up top a second ago, there are almost no enemies around. All 3 players are right by each other, and that's just a terrible situation for an invader. I shouldn't have put myself in that situation, but I got out of it luckily, and I was able to get to a spot where I had some help, got a free kill from some PvEs, and then once it's a 2v1, I feel pretty comfortable. I can handle most 2v1s unless it's pretty good players decently well. So good lesson for an invasion. We'll come back to some invasion, basics here in a bit. I've done a lot of invasions, watched a lot of invasions, and the thing that's really good about them is you can't just run in and try to kill people. And that's boring anyways. That's why I don't care for duels as much, because it's just so much more try hard, and I don't care for that quite as much. But the other is because you've got to kind of think. You got to know the levels. You got to know what different weapons do and what different areas are like, and you've got to kind of plan things out. You poke and prod a little bit to get a feel for the players that you're against, and then you can just be spontaneous and come up with different things in the spur of the moment to win the fight. And that's what's so fun about invasions. But anyway, so other weapons. So I used Claymore, Radon's, Rune's Greatsword. I got a couple of I can't remember what they're called in this game. The biggest ultra or colossal greatsword, whatever that one's called, the big long one, that you can get the most damage on it, and it's got some of the best Ash of Wars here. I really like Chilling Mist. It's a fantastic Ash of War on a colossal greatsword because it's got what I think is a true combo on it. That's the sword right there, actually. I can't remember what the exact name of that thing, but so you got that thing, and then you got the other, Waves of Darkness. There we go. That's what I was looking for. Waves of Darkness. So I think I got 2 of these swords. One I think's fully upgraded, and I didn't have the plus 25 item to the ancient smithing dragonstone to get the other one to plus 25, so I think the other one's plus 24, but anyways, close enough. One of them's got Waves of Darkness, one of them's got Chilling Mist, 2 great Ashes of War. Chilling Mist is great for it's good for a multiplayer fight, like a 2v1 or 3v1. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's top tier for that, but it's really, really good for 1v1s. And then Waves of Darkness could be the best 2v1 or 3v1 Ash of War out there. You can kill all 3 players at once with that. You get hyper armor on it. It does huge damage. It's got 3 different hits, plus you can get a hit with your actual weapon in the middle of that. So just such a great Ash of War. What else do I switch to in this? I got a couple other weapons I'll switch to here and there. I got Moonveil on here. I don't think I ever really even used it on this build in particular. Moonveil is so good. Possibly the best weapon in the game. I think I would probably put it as the best weapon in the game. Oh, I've got this guy. Great finisher weapon. Great weapon to add some pressure to people that aren't doing anything. Not necessarily great for someone in a small room, because you got to go in the room to use it, because you got to have line of sight to use this one. But great for finishing someone off. Great for an area like this where you need to add some pressure, and it's just perfect for adding that pressure. So you can really separate players, and that's how you finish people off in invasions, is you get them separated. And they do like this, where one person rushes you, another person runs away, which is just exactly what you want to see. And hey, that's the video. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.